The grass does not move much before everything changes. A ripple travels low and fast through the savanna understory, subtle enough that an untrained eye might miss it entirely, but instantly legible to the animals feeding above. Heads snap up, bodies tense. A single sharp vocalization cuts through the air, brief and precise, and the troop explodes into coordinated motion. Some monkeys sprint upward into trees. Others drop lower, diving into dense foliage. A few freeze, pressing close to trunks. No one hesitates. No one chooses incorrectly. The response is immediate, differentiated, and deadly accurate. Nothing has attacked yet. Nothing has touched them. But information has already moved faster than danger. This is the world of the vervet monkey, where survival depends not on strength or speed alone, but on the ability to turn sound into meaning and meaning into action. Predators here come in many forms, and each demands a different response. Leopards stalk from cover. Eagles strike from above. Snakes wait in silence at eye level or below. Treating every threat the same would be fatal. The cost of confusion is death. Vervet monkeys do not solve this problem with vague alarm cries or generalized panic. They solve it with specificity. When a leopard is detected, the alarm call is low and abrupt. The response is equally specific. Monkeys flee upward, scrambling into trees where large cats are less effective hunters. When an eagle appears overhead, the call is sharp and rising, and the troop reacts by diving downward into thick brush or hugging the base of trees to break the predator's line of sight. When a snake is spotted, the call changes again, and the response becomes cautious approach rather than flight, with individuals mobbing the threat from a safe distance. Same troop, same environment, same individuals, different sound, completely different behavior. This is not reflex. This is not simple emotional contagion. This is information being encoded, transmitted, and decoded in real time. The critical detail is that the calls themselves are acoustically distinct in ways that map reliably to predator category, not just urgency. They are not louder or softer versions of the same noise. They are structurally different signals that consistently produce different outcomes. The sound carries content, not just alarm, and that content must be learned. Young vervet monkeys are not born fluent. Infants and juveniles respond imperfectly at first, sometimes making the wrong escape choice or issuing incorrect calls. A juvenile may give an eagle alarm when a harmless bird flies overhead, triggering unnecessary dives into cover. Another may react to a snake call by climbing instead of approaching cautiously. These errors are not punished directly, but they are corrected through consequence. Over time, false alarms are ignored. Incorrect reactions result in increased exposure or social tension. The cost of being wrong accumulates. Through repeated exposure, juveniles refine both production and interpretation. They learn which features matter, which predators justify which response, and which calls carry credibility. This learning is social. Youngsters watch adults closely during alarm events, tracking not just the call, but the movement that follows. Meaning is embedded in behavior, reinforced by survival outcomes. This is why vervet alarm calls cannot be dismissed as simple signals. They operate more like labels than emotional screams. They point to categories in the world and instruct bodies on what to do next. The ecosystem itself reinforces this precision. Vervets live in open habitats where visibility is partial and threats can appear suddenly from multiple directions. Trees offer safety from some predators, but exposure to others. Dense ground cover hides snakes but blocks escape routes. Every microhabitat carries trade-offs. Correctly identifying the threat determines which trade-off is acceptable in that moment. This is where the wow moment truly lands. The call does not merely announce danger, it reorganizes space. A leopard call pulls the troop vertically upward. An eagle call compresses it downward. A snake call reorganizes individuals into a semicircle of cautious observers. The same landscape is reshaped by sound alone, as bodies reposition themselves according to shared understanding. Information becomes architecture. Predators are not passive participants in this system. Leopards hunt silently and exploit confusion. Eagles rely on surprise and speed. Snakes depend on stillness and camouflage. Vervet alarm calls disrupt these strategies by collapsing the window of opportunity. Once the call is given, the hunt often fails before it begins. This creates evolutionary pressure on both sides. Predators evolve stealth. Vervets evolve discrimination. The arms race plays out not in claws or teeth, but in milliseconds of interpretation. The most important aspect of this system is reliability. An alarm call that triggers the wrong response is worse than silence. If an eagle call causes monkeys to climb, it increases vulnerability. If a leopard call sends them to the ground, it invites ambush. Selection ruthlessly filters out unreliable callers, not through moral judgment, but through consequence. Individuals whose calls repeatedly mislead others lose social trust. Their alarms are ignored. Their survival chances drop. This social filtering is subtle but powerful. Vervet troops are not egalitarian information networks. Some individuals are more credible than others, based on age, experience, and past accuracy. Adults are trusted more than juveniles. Consistent callers shape group response more effectively. Over time, an informal hierarchy of information emerges. This matters because the system is only as strong as its weakest signal. Infants are not exempt from this process. Young vervets respond instinctively to movement and sound, but they must learn how to map calls to actions. Early in life, they often flee inappropriately or fail to respond quickly enough. Mothers and close kin position themselves to buffer these mistakes, placing infants in safer zones during feeding and travel. Learning happens under protection, but it must happen fast. The cost of delay is real. Juveniles that fail to learn alarm call meaning experience higher predation risk. Those that learn quickly integrate more smoothly into group movement and gain earlier independence. Cognitive development here is not abstract. It is immediately life-preserving. What makes this system extraordinary is not just that the calls convey meaning, but that the meaning is shared. Every member of the troop responds in coordinated fashion, even when they cannot see the threat themselves. They trust the signal. They act on information they did not personally verify. This requires a level of social cognition that goes beyond simple stimulus response. The vervet monkey does not need to see the eagle. It needs to know that someone else saw it and that the sound they produced corresponds reliably to that event. This is second-hand knowledge being acted upon without skepticism, because skepticism costs time. In evolutionary terms, this is a foundation for something much larger. It demonstrates that natural selection can favor systems where sound stands in for reality, where symbols guide behavior, and where learning refines meaning over generations. This is not language in the human sense, but it is not far from it either. Critically, the calls are not flexible in syntax. Vervets do not combine alarms into sentences or modify them creatively. The system is limited, but within its limits, it is precise, functional, and robust. It solves a specific ecological problem exceptionally well. That problem is density. Vervets live in groups large enough that individual vigilance is insufficient. No single monkey can monitor every angle. Shared awareness becomes necessary. Alarm calls distribute perception across the group, allowing many eyes to function as one sensory field. This also explains why vervets are so alert and visually oriented. Their large eyes, head movements, and scanning behavior feed directly into this communication network. Seeing is not private. It is a communal responsibility. When the system works, predation rates drop. When it fails, losses are immediate. This feedback loop keeps the system honest. There is no room for symbolic drift or exaggeration. Calls must mean exactly what they signal. And this is why the claim that vervet alarm calls act like actual language is not metaphorical fluff. It is a recognition that meaning exists outside human speech. Information can move through bodies, reshape behavior, and alter outcomes without grammar or syntax. Evolution does not care how information is packaged, only that it works. The savanna returns to quiet after the threat passes. Feeding resumes. Juveniles play again. The moment dissolves. But the system remains, ready to activate at the next flicker of danger. Somewhere in the grass, a predator moves again. And somewhere above, a pair of eyes will see it first. As the first light spills across the canopy, the forest does not wake all at once. Mist hangs low, clinging to the upper leaves, and the air is still cool enough to carry sound without distortion. Then the silence fractures. A long, rising phrase cuts through the trees, clean and forceful, followed seconds later by a second voice that does not echo or overlap randomly, but slots perfectly into the first. The two calls interlock, alternating and reinforcing, expanding outward through the forest like ripples across water. This is not background noise. This is an announcement. High in the canopy, a pair of gibbons moves only slightly as they sing. Their bodies remain mostly still, suspended among branches that sway gently beneath them. The energy of the moment is not physical. It is acoustic. The forest around them becomes a medium through which ownership is declared, boundaries are reinforced, and conflict is avoided before it can begin. To understand gibbon songs, you have to stop thinking of them as vocal displays and start thinking of them as maps. Gibbons live in dense tropical forests where visibility is limited and movement is costly. The canopy is complex, layered, and discontinuous. Direct confrontation over territory would require repeated physical patrols, long-distance travel, and frequent aggressive encounters, all of which burn energy and increase injury risk. In such an environment, sound becomes the most efficient tool available. It travels farther than sight. It moves faster than bodies. And when structured correctly, it can replace violence almost entirely. The duet song is that structure. Each gibbon pair produces a distinctive duet composed of precisely timed phrases, with the male and female contributing different components. These components are not interchangeable. The rhythm, pitch, sequence, and timing form a pattern that is remarkably consistent for that pair and distinct from neighboring pairs. To outsiders, it may sound melodic. To other gibbons, it is a signature. The duet conveys three critical pieces of information simultaneously. First, it announces that the territory is occupied. Second, it confirms that the territory is defended by a bonded pair rather than a solitary individual. Third, it identifies exactly which pair is singing, allowing neighbors to locate the source precisely and assess whether a border has shifted. This matters because gibbon territories are tightly packed and fiercely respected. Boundaries are not marked by physical barriers or scent trails alone. They are maintained through repeated acoustic confirmation. When a pair sings from a consistent location day after day, neighbors learn where the line is. As long as the song stays in its expected place, there is no reason to escalate. The forest becomes partitioned by sound. Timing plays a crucial role. Gibbons sing most frequently in the early morning, when air density and humidity allow sound to travel farthest and with minimal interference. This is not coincidence. It is physics exploited by evolution. Morning songs propagate over long distances, reaching multiple neighboring territories at once. A single duet can update an entire local network of rivals without a single branch being crossed. The structure of the duet itself reduces ambiguity. Male and female parts are coordinated but distinct, creating a composite signal that is harder to fake and harder to ignore. A lone gibbon cannot replicate the full duet accurately. A newly formed pair must synchronize over time before their song becomes stable. This makes the duet a reliable indicator of pair stability and territorial strength. From the listener's perspective, this reliability matters. Challenging a stable pair is risky. Challenging a weak or recently disrupted pair may be worthwhile. The duet allows rivals to make that assessment without ever meeting face to face. This is where the wow moment begins to crystallize. Gibbon songs are not emotional outbursts or mating serenades. They are risk management systems that allow animals to make strategic decisions at a distance. Young gibbons do not emerge singing perfectly formed duets. Juveniles practice fragments, experiment with timing, and gradually learn the precise structure of their species' song. Accuracy matters. An incorrect phrase or mistimed response can confuse neighbors or signal weakness. Over time, pairs refine their duet until it becomes a stable acoustic identity. This learning process also reinforces pair bonding, but not in the romantic sense humans project onto it. Synchronization requires attention, memory, and mutual adjustment. A pair that sings well together demonstrates coordination in other domains as well, including movement, foraging, and territory defense. The duet is both a signal and a rehearsal of partnership. The effectiveness of this system becomes most obvious when it fails. When a pair stops singing consistently, neighbors take notice. Silence creates uncertainty. Is the pair absent? Injured? Disrupted? In response, rivals may begin to test boundaries, moving closer, singing more frequently, or shifting their own song locations. This pressure can trigger escalations that might otherwise never occur. In rare cases where physical confrontations do happen, they are often preceded by prolonged changes in vocal behavior. Songs overlap more frequently. Calls shift closer to border zones. The acoustic map begins to blur. By the time bodies meet, the conflict has already been announced for weeks. Predators also shape this system, but indirectly. Singing is conspicuous. It reveals location. Yet gibbons continue to do it because the benefits outweigh the risks. Leopards, large birds of prey, and snakes all pose threats. But gibbons mitigate this by singing from high, stable positions with clear escape routes. They minimize movement during vocalization, reducing detection cues beyond sound itself. The duet becomes a calculated exposure rather than reckless display. Their anatomy supports this strategy. Gibbons possess elongated arms and specialized shoulder joints that allow rapid brachiation through the canopy. If danger approaches, they can disengage quickly and vanish into the treetops. Sound anchors them socially. Movement protects them physically. The duet also serves an internal function within the ecosystem. By spacing territories acoustically, gibbons reduce overexploitation of food resources. Each pair maintains access to fruiting trees within its range without constant intrusion. This stabilizes feeding patterns and reduces ecological stress. In effect, the song helps regulate population density indirectly by preventing overlap that would otherwise lead to starvation or displacement. From a broader evolutionary perspective, gibbon songs demonstrate that complex communication systems do not require symbolic language to be effective. Meaning can be embedded in timing, structure, and repetition. The forest does not need words. It needs clarity. This clarity allows gibbons to maintain territories for years with minimal physical conflict. Injuries are rare. Energy is conserved. Reproductive success remains high relative to effort. In an environment where travel is costly and visibility is poor, this is an extraordinary solution. Human listeners often describe gibbon songs as haunting or beautiful, but that reaction misses the point. The song is not performed for appreciation. It is performed because it works. It draws invisible lines through a three-dimensional space and keeps them intact day after day. When multiple pairs sing across the forest at sunrise, the result is not chaos. It is order. A layered acoustic grid settles over the canopy, each duet occupying its own position, each pair reaffirming presence without confrontation. The forest becomes quieter afterward, not because the animals have gone silent, but because the need for further negotiation has passed. This is what people fail to grasp. Gibbon music is not expression. It is enforcement. Their voices replace fences. Their timing replaces patrols. Their duets carry identity, location, and strength across distances bodies cannot efficiently cross. Information flows faster than aggression ever could. In that early light, as the final notes fade and the forest returns to its usual texture of insect buzz and leaf rustle, the work is already done. Borders are set. Ownership is confirmed. No fight occurred. No chase unfolded. And yet, the territory is as real as if it were marked with walls. The gibbons will move through it confidently for the rest of the day, feeding, resting, and traveling within boundaries drawn entirely by sound. Their music is not decoration. It is a fence. The forest never holds them all at once. High in the canopy, movement appears in fragments. A tail uncurls from a branch and vanishes. A dark shape crosses a gap and dissolves into leaves. A distant call rolls through the trees and then fades without revealing its source. Spider monkeys are present everywhere and nowhere, stretched thin across kilometers of forest, rarely gathered, constantly rearranging. To an observer expecting a cohesive troop, the scene feels disordered. To a spider monkey, it is perfectly organized. This is fission fusion living at its extreme. Spider monkeys inhabit vast tracts of tropical forest where food is abundant but unpredictable, concentrated in fruiting trees that ripen asynchronously and then disappear. No single area can support the entire community at once, and no fixed group can exploit the landscape efficiently. Staying together would mean competition, hunger, and wasted effort. Splitting apart is not a breakdown of society. It is the foundation of it. At dawn, individuals disperse. Small subgroups peel away silently, each taking a different route through the canopy. Some travel far, others stay close. The forest absorbs them, and for hours they operate independently, feeding, moving, and resting without direct contact. Yet they are not disconnected. They are linked by sound, memory, and expectation. This is where the broadcast network begins. Spider monkeys rely heavily on long-distance vocalizations that carry through dense forest and across canopy gaps. These calls are not constant. They are deployed strategically, often when individuals locate high-quality food, finish feeding, or prepare to move. The sound travels farther than bodies can, announcing presence, intent, and opportunity without forcing physical convergence. A single call can change the social geometry of the forest. When a spider monkey discovers a fruiting tree nearing peak ripeness, the decision to call is not automatic. Calling attracts others, increasing competition, but it also increases safety, social contact, and future reciprocity. The monkey weighs the value of the resource against the value of connection. Information here is currency, and like all currency, it is spent selectively. Those who call too often without payoff lose credibility. Those who never call become socially invisible. Over time, individuals develop reputations as reliable sources of information or as parasites who arrive without contributing. These reputations persist across weeks and months, shaping who joins whom and who is avoided. Memory underpins everything. Spider monkeys maintain detailed mental maps not only of the forest, but of each other. They remember who fed where yesterday, who tends to locate ripe fruit, who is aggressive, who is tolerant, and who is safe to travel with. When calls echo through the canopy, they are not anonymous signals. They are recognized voices tied to past outcomes. This recognition allows spider monkeys to operate a decentralized social system without central coordination. No leader assigns groups. No fixed hierarchy dictates movement. Instead, individuals make local decisions based on partial information, and the collective pattern emerges organically. This is fission fusion not as chaos, but as computation. Subgroups form around opportunity. They dissolve when resources thin. Individuals rejoin others later in the day, sometimes miles away from where they split. Reunions are not random. They are guided by expectation. A monkey that calls in the morning from the eastern range may be joined hours later by others who remember that area producing well this season. The forest becomes threaded with invisible lines of information, connecting distant individuals through sound and shared history. This system demands advanced cognition. A spider monkey must track not just where it is, but where others might be, what they might know, and how likely they are to be worth joining. It must remember past interactions and predict future ones. It must weigh solitude against company constantly, adjusting decisions in real time. Infants are born into this complexity. Young spider monkeys cling to their mothers as they navigate this shifting network, absorbing not just motor skills, but social logic. They hear calls and watch how their mothers respond. They learn which voices trigger movement and which are ignored. Over years, they build an internal model of the community that extends far beyond immediate surroundings. This learning is critical because isolation carries risk. Predators such as jaguars, harpy eagles, and large snakes exploit solitude. A lone monkey feeding quietly is vulnerable. Groups provide vigilance, alarm calling, and collective escape. But grouping too long increases competition and depletes food. The balance is delicate, and it is maintained through information flow rather than constant proximity. Calls serve as safety checks as much as invitations. A monkey traveling alone may call briefly to announce presence and listen for responses, confirming that allies are nearby even if unseen. Silence can mean distance, but it can also signal danger. The absence of expected calls triggers caution, slowing movement or prompting retreat. Thermoregulation also factors into this system. Spider monkeys are large, lean primates adapted for life in the canopy, where exposure to sun and wind fluctuates dramatically. Traveling in small groups allows individuals to choose microclimates more precisely, resting in shade or sun as needed without being constrained by group consensus. This physiological flexibility feeds back into social flexibility. Even resting is informational. When subgroups pause, they often do so in acoustically strategic locations, where calls can be sent or received easily. A resting site is not chosen purely for comfort. It is chosen for connectivity. From these nodes, monkeys can update their social map before moving again. This distributed network becomes especially apparent during seasonal scarcity. When fruit is scarce, fission intensifies. Subgroups become smaller. Calls become more frequent but more selective. Information becomes more valuable, and errors are punished by hunger. In these periods, individuals rely heavily on memory of past fruiting cycles, revisiting trees that produced years earlier, guided by experience rather than immediate cues. Those with better memory eat better. Those who remembers survive. This is the wow moment most people miss. Spider monkeys do not just live in groups that split and merge. They operate a knowledge-driven social network, where information determines association. Who meets whom is not random. It is decided by data. A monkey with valuable information attracts others. A monkey without it becomes peripheral. Over time, this shapes reproductive opportunities, alliance formation, and survival itself. Intelligence here is not measured by tool use or problem-solving puzzles. It is measured by network position. The structure also reduces conflict. Because associations are fluid, individuals can avoid rivals without permanent separation. Tension dissolves as groups split. Aggression is diffused spatially rather than escalated socially. This keeps injury rates low despite high population density across large ranges. From an evolutionary perspective, this is elegant. Instead of rigid dominance hierarchies that require constant enforcement, spider monkeys use movement and information to regulate social pressure. Space replaces force. Human observers often struggle to track spider monkey societies because they expect stability. They look for a troop. What they find instead is a shifting mosaic of interactions that only make sense over time. Short observations miss the pattern entirely. But the monkeys themselves never lose the pattern. They carry it in memory, updating it with every call heard, every reunion, every absence noted. The forest is not empty between meetings. It is alive with information moving invisibly through leaves and air. By afternoon, subgroups begin to converge again, drawn together by calls, hunger, or social need. Individuals that have not seen each other all day reunite without confusion, grooming briefly before moving on. The separation did not weaken bonds. It tested them and reaffirmed them through information exchange. As dusk approaches, the network tightens. Calls slow. Movement stabilizes. The day's data has been collected and acted upon. Tomorrow the system will fracture again, not because it failed, but because it works best that way. Spider monkeys do not maintain society by staying together. They maintain it by knowing when not to. Their world is not built on constant contact, but on constant awareness. Sound replaces sight. Memory replaces proximity. Information replaces authority. In this canopy, survival does not belong to the strongest or the fastest. It belongs to those who know, and know who else knows, exactly when to come together and exactly when to disappear. The display begins suddenly, but not randomly. A large male chimpanzee moves into an open corridor of forest where massive buttress roots rise like walls from the soil. He pauses, shoulders lifted, body angled forward. His hair bristles. Then his hands strike his chest in rapid succession, a hollow, thudding sound that rolls outward through the trees. The display escalates as he lunges forward, fists slamming into the roots, into fallen trunks, into anything that will carry vibration. The forest answers back, not with sound alone, but with resonance. You do not just hear it, you feel it. This is not chaos. It is not emotional overflow. It is engineered communication, and the forest itself is part of the instrument. Chimpanzees live in environments where visibility is limited, movement is costly, and direct confrontation is dangerous. Dense vegetation absorbs high-frequency sound and breaks sightlines quickly. In such conditions, information must travel without bodies following it. Sound becomes the solution, but not just any sound. Low-frequency vibrations travel farther, penetrate foliage better, and carry through ground and wood in ways higher tones cannot. Chimpanzees exploit this physics deliberately. Chest beating is only the opening act. When a chimpanzee drums on buttress roots, hollow logs, or resonant trunks, the sound propagates through the forest floor and tree structure, traveling well beyond visual range. These are not accidental surfaces. Buttress roots are particularly effective because they act like natural amplifiers, transmitting vibration along their length and into surrounding soil. A single drumming bout can be detected hundreds of meters away, sometimes more depending on terrain and humidity. This transforms the forest into a communication network. Other chimpanzees do not need to see the drummer to know who it is. Each individual's drumming pattern, rhythm, intensity, and timing carries identity information. Adult males, especially high-ranking ones, develop distinctive display signatures. Subordinates recognize them instantly. Rivals interpret them carefully. Females assess them as signals of stability or instability. The message is layered. At its simplest level, drumming announces presence and location. It says, "I am here, and I occupy this space." At a deeper level, it communicates arousal state. Rapid, intense drumming signals heightened aggression or excitement. Slower, spaced beats may indicate routine patrol movement. The difference matters, because it determines how others respond. A low-ranking male hearing an intense display from a dominant individual may choose to alter his route entirely, avoiding the area without ever seeing the threat. A subgroup hearing familiar drumming may converge toward it, reinforcing alliance. A lone individual may freeze, listen, and wait for confirmation before moving. Decisions are made in response to vibration, not sight. This is the wow moment. Movement decisions across the forest are being shaped by sound alone. Chimpanzee society is built on coalition dynamics. Alliances matter more than individual strength. Drumming plays a key role in maintaining those coalitions without constant physical interaction. A dominant male does not need to patrol every boundary personally. His sound does it for him. His presence is extended acoustically. This reduces the cost of dominance. Instead of repeated fights, injuries, and chases, power is asserted through vibration. The system rewards those who can project reliably and consistently. It also punishes bluffing. A weak individual attempting to imitate dominant displays risks immediate retaliation if challenged directly. Over time, honest signaling is enforced. The forest amplifies this honesty. Sound travels differently depending on position. A chimpanzee drumming from a high-quality resonant site produces a stronger, clearer signal than one striking a random trunk. These locations are not chosen by chance. Experienced males return to effective drumming sites repeatedly, embedding sound production into spatial memory. Certain routes become known broadcast points, acoustic landmarks within the territory. These landmarks function much like signal towers. When drumming occurs from these sites, other chimpanzees can triangulate location accurately. They know not just who is calling, but where. This precision allows individuals to coordinate movement without visual contact. Patrols can align. Subgroups can avoid collision. Females with infants can steer away from volatile zones. Infants learn this system early. Young chimpanzees react visibly to drumming long before they understand its full meaning. They cling closer to mothers. Play halts. Movement slows. Over time, they learn to discriminate between routine displays and dangerous ones. A brief chest beat during feeding does not carry the same weight as prolonged drumming combined with branch shaking and screaming. Context matters, and infants absorb that context through repeated exposure. This learning is critical because drumming often precedes violence, but not always. Patrols moving toward rival territory drum more intensely. Encounters with outsiders are often announced acoustically before they occur. Hearing the wrong pattern at the wrong time can mean walking into an ambush. Predators intersect with this system in complex ways. Leopards hunt chimpanzees opportunistically, especially juveniles. Loud displays increase visibility and risk. Yet dominant males continue to drum because the social benefits outweigh predation risk. This tells us something important. In chimpanzees, social danger often exceeds predator danger. Being caught alone by rivals is deadlier than attracting a leopard. This hierarchy of threats shapes behavior. Displays are more frequent in areas of high social tension and less frequent in zones of low conflict. During periods of instability, such as after the loss of a dominant male, drumming increases dramatically. The forest becomes louder, more uncertain, more charged. Sound reflects social stress. Females listen closely to these changes. For a female with an infant, drumming is information about safety. A stable acoustic landscape means predictable movement and lower risk. Sudden changes in display frequency or intensity signal danger. Females respond by tightening association with protective males, altering travel routes, or delaying movement altogether. Parenting decisions are made in response to sound patterns echoing through the trees. This is where the chest beat myth collapses. These displays are not emotional explosions. They are broadcast systems integrated into daily decision-making. The physicality of the display reinforces its credibility. Chest beating is exhausting. Drumming repeatedly on hard surfaces taxes muscles and joints. Only healthy, confident individuals can sustain it. This makes the signal costly and therefore reliable. A weak chimpanzee cannot fake dominance acoustically for long. The forest reinforces this cost by demanding precision. Striking the wrong surface produces a dull, ineffective sound. Hitting the right one amplifies power. Experience matters. Skill matters. Dominance here is not just about size, but about knowing how to use the environment. This extends to timing. Drumming often occurs during travel transitions, at territory edges, or when parties reunite. It is less common during quiet feeding. The timing itself carries information about intent. Movement paired with sound announces approach. Silence paired with movement suggests stealth. Chimpanzees understand this intuitively. Over evolutionary time, this system allowed chimpanzees to expand territories, coordinate patrols, and maintain dominance hierarchies with fewer injuries than constant fighting would require. Sound replaces physical enforcement. The forest becomes a shared medium, where power is negotiated without contact. This does not eliminate violence. It delays and channels it. When violence occurs, it is often decisive, because the acoustic groundwork has already been laid. Alliances have formed. Positions are known. Uncertainty has been reduced. Sound has prepared the battlefield. Humans standing in such a forest often describe the experience as unsettling. The vibrations travel through the ground, through the body, through the chest. That reaction is not accidental. Low-frequency sound triggers visceral responses across mammals. It bypasses conscious analysis and registers as urgency. Chimpanzees exploit this effect on each other. They are not just communicating facts, they are shaping emotional states. A dominant male's drumming elevates arousal in allies and suppresses resistance in subordinates. It primes the group for coordinated action or compliance. This is power exercised through physics, not force. The wow moment lands fully here. Chimpanzees do not just communicate in the forest, they use the forest as part of their nervous system. Trees, roots, and soil become extensions of their bodies, carrying signals beyond reach and sight. When the display ends, the forest settles, but the effects persist. Movement patterns shift. Individuals reposition. Decisions have been made without a single direct interaction. The system resets, ready for the next signal. Chest beating may be the image people remember, but drumming is the engine underneath. It is how chimpanzees turn environment into message, vibration into authority, and sound into control. In this world, power does not always walk toward you. Sometimes it reaches you first through the ground beneath your feet and the air inside your chest, long before you ever see who sent it. The capuchin does not rush. That is the first thing to notice. While others forage openly, cracking nuts or tearing bark, this one sits slightly apart, eyes tracking movement rather than food. Its body is relaxed, tail loosely coiled, posture unremarkable. Nothing about it draws attention. That, in itself, is the strategy. Capuchins that succeed most often are not the loudest or strongest. They are the ones who wait until the moment is right. The forest around them is alive with signals. Alarm calls flare and fade. Subgroups shift positions. A dominant individual displaces another from a feeding site. Each action creates ripples of attention, and attention is the most valuable resource in a capuchin society. Food matters, but attention determines who gets it. Capuchin monkeys live in socially dense groups where every individual is both observer and observed. They are small-bodied primates with limited physical dominance over larger competitors and predators, which means they cannot rely on force to secure resources. Instead, they rely on information. Who is looking where, who is distracted, who can be influenced, and who will respond. This is where timing becomes everything. A capuchin does not steal food randomly. It waits until a higher-ranking individual is engaged elsewhere, often during moments of social tension or environmental distraction. A sudden alarm call, a brief scuffle, or the appearance of a predator can shift attention just long enough. The stealing capuchin moves quickly, silently, taking advantage of the temporary blindness created by chaos. The theft itself may last only seconds, but the decision that enabled it was shaped over minutes of observation. This behavior is not impulsive. It is anticipatory. Capuchins are expert readers of gaze direction and body orientation. They track who is watching whom and adjust their actions accordingly. A capuchin is far less likely to attempt a theft if the owner of the food is looking directly at it. When eyes turn away, hands move. This sensitivity to attention rivals that seen in some apes and far exceeds what would be expected from an animal of their size. But stealing is only one application of the toolkit. Capuchins also manipulate social dynamics directly. A lower-ranking individual may recruit allies before challenging a stronger one, using vocalizations or body language to attract attention and support. These recruitment attempts are not random. They target individuals with shared history, reciprocal grooming relationships, or overlapping interests. The capuchin understands, at least functionally, who is likely to help and who is not. Sometimes recruitment is indirect. A capuchin may provoke a dominant individual subtly, triggering aggression that spills outward and distracts others. While attention focuses on the conflict, the instigator slips away with access to food or preferred space. This is not clumsiness. It is exploitation of predictable social responses. Deception plays a role here, though not in the human sense of lying with intent. Capuchins exaggerate or suppress signals depending on context. A minor disturbance may trigger an outsized reaction if it benefits the caller. Conversely, real threats may go unannounced if calling would draw competitors rather than protection. Alarm calls, gestures, and movement patterns are tools that can be modulated for personal gain. The forest rewards this flexibility. Predators such as raptors and snakes impose real danger, which gives alarm signals credibility. But credibility also creates opportunity. A false or exaggerated alarm may briefly clear a feeding area or scatter competitors. This tactic is risky because repeated misuse erodes trust. Capuchins that cry wolf too often find themselves ignored. Once ignored, they lose one of their most powerful tools. The system enforces balance. This balance is learned socially, not genetically. Young capuchins spend years watching older individuals navigate these dynamics. They observe who succeeds, who fails, and under what conditions. When a juvenile sees an adult manipulate a situation successfully, that behavior becomes part of its repertoire. This is not imitation of movement alone, it is imitation of strategy. Social learning in capuchins is unusually sophisticated. Behaviors spread through groups not because they are instinctive, but because they work. Nut-cracking techniques, food washing, tool use, and foraging innovations propagate through observation and practice. But so do social tactics. The ability to distract, recruit, or exploit attention is transmitted culturally. This creates group-level differences. One capuchin community may be particularly adept at coordinated stealing. Another may rely more heavily on alliances. These patterns persist across generations, even when environments are similar. The culture of manipulation becomes a local tradition, shaped by history and reinforced by success. Nowhere is this clearer than in moments of group-wide disruption. Imagine a feeding site where multiple individuals converge on a limited resource. Tension rises. Dominant individuals assert control. Subordinates linger at the edges. One capuchin, watching carefully, makes a sudden move, perhaps a sharp vocalization or abrupt leap that startles others. The group reacts instinctively. Bodies shift. Eyes turn. For a heartbeat, order dissolves. That heartbeat is enough. The instigator darts in, grabs food, and retreats to a safe perch. The chaos subsides. No one is injured. The resource is redistributed, not through strength, but through information control. The group learns from this moment. Others attempt similar tactics later. Some succeed. Some fail. The successful variations persist. This is the wow moment. Capuchins do not just solve problems, they teach each other how to exploit social systems. Their intelligence is not isolated within individuals. It is distributed across the group through observation and memory. A single clever act can reshape group behavior within days. Capuchins adapt socially at a speed that rivals ecological change. Physiology supports this mental agility. Capuchins have relatively large brains for their body size, with expanded regions associated with decision-making and motor control. Their hands are dexterous, capable of fine manipulation. Their tails provide balance, freeing hands for complex actions. But none of this matters without the social environment that rewards innovation. Thermoregulation even intersects with manipulation. During the hottest parts of the day, activity slows. Feeding becomes more opportunistic. Individuals rest more, increasing the density of watchers and watched. These conditions favor subtle tactics over overt conflict. A capuchin that understands this rhythm can exploit it, choosing moments when vigilance is low and patience is thin. Predator pressure sharpens these skills further. In dangerous environments, group cohesion matters, but so does individual survival. A capuchin that manipulates attention too aggressively risks social retaliation or abandonment during critical moments. One that never takes risks starves. The optimal strategy sits between caution and opportunism. This tension produces minds tuned for nuance. Capuchins also manipulate knowledge asymmetry. An individual that discovers a new food source may delay announcing it, feeding quietly before recruiting others later, when satiation or danger makes sharing advantageous. This control over information flow mirrors economic behavior seen in humans, where timing disclosure can maximize payoff. The group responds dynamically. Those excluded once may watch more closely next time. Trust is adjusted. Alliances shift. The social landscape is never static. Over evolutionary time, this system favored individuals capable of reading subtle cues, predicting reactions, and adapting strategies rapidly. Brute force alone could not succeed in such an environment. Only minds capable of social foresight thrived. Human observers often laugh at capuchin antics, mistaking manipulation for play. But in the forest, these behaviors are deadly serious. They determine who eats, who mates, who survives predation, and who raises offspring successfully. Intelligence here is not abstract. It is embodied in split-second decisions that exploit the rules of social life. By the end of the day, the forest quiets. Capuchins settle into resting clusters, grooming and feeding lightly. The chaos of earlier moments fades, but its lessons remain. Tomorrow, the same individuals will watch each other again, adjusting strategies based on what worked and what did not. This is not randomness. It is refinement. Capuchins thrive because they treat social life as a manipulable system rather than a fixed hierarchy. Signals are tools. Attention is leverage. Knowledge is power. And power in this forest belongs to those who understand when to act and when to wait. The manipulator's toolkit is not hidden. It is on display every day, written in glances, gestures, and timing. You just have to know how to look. The canopy does not sit still long enough for silence. At mid-height in the forest, branches sway, leaves collide, and sunlight fractures into shifting mosaics. Through this layered confusion moves a torrent of small bodies, fast and precise, barely pausing as they flow from limb to limb. Squirrel monkeys do not travel as individuals. They move as a living current, dozens strong, compressing and expanding through space with remarkable speed. And everywhere they go, sound pours out with them, sharp, clipped, overlapping calls that never seem to stop. To an untrained ear, it sounds chaotic. To the monkeys themselves, it is structure. Squirrel monkeys live in some of the largest and most mobile primate groups in the forest. Their troops can number in the dozens, sometimes more, and they travel rapidly through the canopy in search of insects, fruit, and temporary feeding opportunities. Unlike slow-moving folivores or territorial singers, squirrel monkeys operate in a constant state of motion. They cannot afford long pauses. They cannot afford fragmentation. Separation, even briefly, can be fatal. This is the environment that shapes their communication. The mid-canopy is visually cluttered. Branches intersect at odd angles. Leaves block sightlines. Sunlight shifts constantly, creating glare and shadow that erase depth perception. In this world, vision alone cannot maintain group cohesion. Sound must do the work instead. Squirrel monkeys solve this problem by producing a near-continuous stream of short contact calls. These calls are not alarms, and they are not social bonding signals in the traditional sense. They function as positional updates, constantly broadcasting presence, direction, and movement state. Each call says, in effect, "I am here, I am moving, follow this vector." The result is a distributed guidance system. As the troop moves, individuals at the front produce calls that are answered by those behind. If direction shifts, call patterns change. If speed increases, call rate rises. If a subgroup lags, the acoustic density thins, triggering individuals to slow or redirect. No one issues commands. No leader dictates pace. The group remains coherent because everyone is listening and adjusting simultaneously. This is traffic control without stoplights. The efficiency of this system becomes most obvious when something disrupts it. A sudden predator shadow, a fallen branch, a gap in the canopy. Movement fractures momentarily. Calls spike, overlap, change rhythm. Within seconds, the troop reorients, flowing around the obstacle without splintering. Individuals that lose visual contact regain acoustic contact almost immediately, homing back toward the sound field of the group. Young squirrel monkeys learn this early. Infants cling tightly during rapid travel, but they also vocalize frequently, reinforcing their location to caregivers. As they grow, juveniles experiment with call timing, learning how their voices influence movement. A poorly timed call can cause momentary confusion. A well-timed one pulls others towards safety. The feedback is immediate and unforgiving. This learning process is accelerated by predation pressure. Squirrel monkeys are prey for a wide range of predators. Raptors scanning from above, snakes coiled along branches, and cats capable of explosive ambush. Their small size and high metabolism leave little margin for error. Running alone is suicide. Staying connected is survival. Alarm calls exist, but they are layered on top of the contact system, not separate from it. When danger appears, alarm calls erupt briefly, sharp and specific, but they do not replace the background chatter. Instead, they redirect it. Contact calls intensify and reorganize movement patterns, pulling individuals inward, downward, or toward cover depending on the threat. This is the key insight. Squirrel-monkey communication is continuous, not episodic. There is no on-off switch between silence and alarm. The system is always running, always updating, always correcting. Physiology supports this relentless pace. Squirrel monkeys have high metabolic rates and require frequent feeding. They cannot afford long rests or slow foraging strategies. Their diet, heavy in insects, demands constant movement and rapid exploitation of ephemeral food patches. Communication must keep up with bodies. This constant calling does have a cost. Sound attracts attention. Predators hear it too. But the alternative is worse. Silence would fragment the troop, isolating individuals in a dangerous maze of branches. Evolution has favored the noisy option because cohesion beats stealth when movement is unavoidable. The canopy itself amplifies this strategy. Leaves scatter sound, reducing precise localization by predators while still allowing general directional cues for group members. Calls bounce, overlap, and blur slightly, creating a sound field rather than a pinpoint signal. To a hawk or snake, this makes targeting difficult. To another squirrel monkey, it provides exactly enough information to stay aligned. This dual effect is not accidental. It is a product of selection acting on physics. Mixed species associations add another layer of complexity. In many forests, squirrel monkeys travel alongside other primate species, such as capuchins or tamarins. These associations are not friendships. They are information alliances. More species means more eyes scanning different visual planes and more ears tuned to different alarm signatures. When one species detects danger, others benefit immediately. Squirrel monkeys exploit this by maintaining their contact call network even when moving with heterospecifics. Their calls allow them to remain cohesive within the larger assemblage, while also tapping into the alarm systems of others. The forest becomes a multi-layered warning grid, where information moves laterally and vertically through different species at once. This is an enormous survival advantage, but it also increases complexity. Calls must remain distinct enough to avoid confusion, yet flexible enough to integrate external signals. Squirrel monkeys manage this by keeping their contact calls short, frequent, and rhythmically consistent, reserving distinct structures for alarms. The auditory channel is partitioned efficiently. From a cognitive perspective, this system demands constant attention. A squirrel monkey must process dozens of calls per minute, filtering relevant signals from background noise, tracking movement trends, and adjusting behavior accordingly. This is not reflexive listening. It is active, selective perception under time pressure. Mistakes happen, but the system absorbs them. A single missed call does not collapse cohesion because redundancy is built in. Multiple individuals broadcast simultaneously. Overlap is not interference. It is insurance. This redundancy is what allows speed. The troop does not slow down to check if everyone is present. It assumes presence unless calls indicate otherwise. Only when acoustic density drops below a threshold does the group adjust. This allows squirrel monkeys to move faster than almost any other primate of similar size without losing cohesion. The wow moment lands here. Their non-stop chatter is not social noise. It is spatial navigation encoded in sound. The forest is not mapped visually in real time. It is mapped acoustically. The troop flows through gaps, around obstacles, and across distances by listening to itself. Even resting periods do not fully silence the system. Calls soften, spacing increases, but communication never stops entirely. Individuals maintain low-level contact, ensuring that sudden movement can resume instantly without reassembly. The network stays warm. When dusk approaches and movement slows, call rates finally drop. The canopy settles. The day's traffic eases, but the system does not disappear. It waits. Tomorrow, the same voices will light up the forest again, rebuilding the sound map from scratch as bodies move and space reshapes. Human observers often describe squirrel monkeys as frantic or hyperactive, missing the discipline underneath. What looks like chaos is actually high-frequency coordination under extreme constraint. Every call has a function. Every response tightens the network. In a forest where visibility lies and silence kills, squirrel monkeys survive by turning sound into direction and chatter into cohesion. They do not navigate by sight alone. They navigate by listening to each other, constantly, at speeds that would tear less organized societies apart. Their voices are not background. They are the road.